How much does it cost to live in Colorado Springs? I'm gonna give you real actual numbers from my budget in today's video. All right, today, like I said, we're gonna talk about cost of living in Colorado Springs. And hey, I know you can look up a bunch of information on the internet. You can find all these numbers today. I'm gonna give you actual numbers from my family's budget that I think is really gonna help you out if you're thinking about maybe moving to Colorado Springs or really just curious what it actually costs to live here. Now, let me frame this a little bit too and say that I'm pushing mid 40s now. I was gonna say early 40s, mid 40s, 43 right now. So married with one little kiddo. I've been in Colorado Springs for quite a while, about 17, 18 years now. I've been in the real estate business for a little while. I've been very fortunate to be blessed with that business. And I live up in the Black Forest area on some acreage, so just northeast, just outside of Colorado Springs proper. So kind of frame that a little bit with some of these costs. Like I said, I wanna give you real numbers so that if you're thinking about it, it might make a little bit of sense for you, or maybe it doesn't make sense for you. So from my actual budget, number one, food. Man, everybody's got to eat, right? So how much does it cost for me and my budget, my family here in Colorado Springs? Now, this is one that I'm going to say, there's a lot of variance here, as you can imagine, across the spectrum from, man, I'm a single guy or gal living on the west side of Colorado Springs. That's gonna be a whole lot different than, man, I'm a family of 12 living, in Flying Horse or something. So there's a lot of variance here, but again, today's numbers are about what it actually costs for me and my family. So I'm gonna tell you this, grocery store bill, about $500 a month. 500 bucks a month, I think that seems pretty good. Do we go to Whole Foods for everything? Do we go to Trader Joe's for everything? No, we don't. We shop at Walmart, we shop at King Soopers, and we do shop a little bit at Sprouts too, especially for meat. They got pretty good meat here at Sprouts. So it's just, there's a lot of variance there. And I know that from what a lot of other folks, how you might do your shopping. So again, to kind of give it some context, those are the places that we typically shop at. We don't eat all organic everything, but we do try to eat pretty healthy. We do also save some money on meat. I am an avid hunter, so a lot of the meat that we eat is from animals that I've hunted. So there's a little bit of variance there. We also try to, we have some friends or acquaintances that own cattle ranches out east in eastern Colorado, so we do also try to buy some organic beef that way as well. But overall, for that number every month that we're spending on groceries, right about 500 bucks. So $500 a month for groceries. Now, hey, we're not cooking all of our meals at home, are we? No, we're not. We do cook a lot at home. So let me say that to kind of provide some context for the next number, which is going to be eating out, restaurant dining, all that good stuff. For us, I estimate this, and this one fluctuates a lot. So I just kind of went back and looked at some of our monthly numbers, and I came up with 600 bucks a month. I think that's a pretty good estimate, roughly. Now that's for me. I'm a guy who's out and about all the time. So unfortunately, I eat lunches out a lot. Try not to eat a lot of fast food. So those lunch prices might be a little bit different than if you went to, say McDonald's, Burger King, Whataburger, In-N-Out every meal. Although In-N-Out's kind of expensive actually. But anyway, all that to say, 600 bucks a month for eating out. So 500, 600, about $1,100 a month goes towards food bill for a family of three that tries to eat pretty healthy, that saves a little bit of money on meat, and shops at probably mainly three different stores that vary from Walmart to Sprouts. 1,100 bucks a month. All right, everybody, hey, look, now we're talking about some real numbers here in Colorado Springs, but I also know not everybody is exactly like me. Some people are gonna want a little bit more to do something, and some people are going to want a little bit less to do something. Your budget's going to vary. So that's why it's so important, guys. We have people reaching out to us every single day, coming to Colorado Springs, thinking about a move here. So they reach out via email, phone call, whatever it might be. But we just want to make sure that everybody that has an interest in Colorado Springs gets all the information that they're really looking for to make the best decision possible for you and your family. So reach out, call, text, email, comments below, whatever is easiest for you. Definitely take the time, reach out. Want to make sure you guys get all the information, and especially about budget, man, about numbers. Like, there's probably a lot of questions about, well, what about for my family? What about for my family? We can definitely answer those for you and give you guys a real clear picture for what it will probably be for you and your family if you're thinking about heading this way. All right, so the next one, number two major expense, I'm gonna have to be honest, it's gas. I drive a lot with my business, run a real estate sales team in here. That's what we're doing. We're showing people houses. We're helping people sell their houses. I'm on the road a good bit. So $650 a month, is that right? No, $500 a month. $500 a month is what I kind of went back through our budget and found for gas on a monthly basis, 500 bucks. So now again, let me provide some context. As I mentioned, I'm on the road a lot, I'm driving a lot. I don't have the most fuel efficient car, does pretty good. It's like a mid-size SUV, nothing crazy. My wife is retired from the military, so she's taking her little guy to school and picking him up, running a lot of the family errands, doing that stuff. Definitely some events, kind of some stuff, activities throughout the week where she is driving around a little bit, but not a ton. So her gas bill is a whole lot less than what mine is. She drives a mid-size sedan, so kind of average on gas prices, I would say. We do have a full-size pickup truck that is a diesel. Diesel fuel is pretty pricey right now. We honestly don't drive the truck a whole lot. We kind of drive it more if we have like an old RV that sometimes we'll pull around to take trips on, or if I'm going to Home Depot or Lowe's to go pick up something, kind of some bigger stuff like that. That's what we use the truck for, but it's definitely not an everyday driver. So those three vehicles, primarily what we use are mid-size SUV, mid-size sedan, and I honestly don't know how many miles. I probably should look that up, but I don't know how many miles a year we drive. Guessing I probably drive 20 plus. My wife probably drives around 10, maybe something like that, 1,000 miles a year. I don't know how that compares to you. Of course, if you're commuting a lot, it's gonna be a lot different, but Colorado gas prices, I would say average amount of driving for a family, $500 a month. That's what we spend on gas, is $500 a month. All right, number 3, the next one is utilities. Man, we get this question a lot. How much are utility costs in Colorado Springs? I know this one varies a lot throughout the country. So for us, again, context, utilities for us is a little bit different because, as I mentioned earlier, we live out in Black Forest, so we don't have some of the utilities you would have if you lived in town, I guess what I'm trying to say. So we're on a well, so we don't have a water bill, and we're on septic, so we don't have a wastewater sewage bill. So well and septic, we kind of eliminate those two. So our main utility costs are gas and electric. Those vary, as you can imagine, more in the summertime with electric if we're running the air conditioner, which we don't run a ton, and then more on the gas in the wintertime if we're running the furnace, which of course we do in the wintertime when it gets cold outside. On the gas side, that's probably our highest bill. Our house is a newer house, just built it a couple years ago, so pretty energy efficient. We do heat the garage space as well, so that kind of adds to it. And then we do have a heated barn as well that's all on the same meter. So all that stuff averaged out throughout the year, honestly about $300 a month. So not too bad. That's one area, cost of living, where I think Colorado Springs is pretty darn good, is on your utility piece. I think that Colorado Springs utilities, which is what most people in Colorado Springs proper. So if you live in the city limits of Colorado Springs, you're gonna have Springs utilities for everything: gas, water, electric, wastewater, sewage. It's all under one utility provider, which is pretty convenient. And I think that our utility bill is pretty similar to somebody that lives in Colorado Springs. So I think $300 a month is probably a pretty good estimate if you're thinking, no matter if you're gonna be in a rural area while on septic, or if you're gonna be in town, probably that $300 a month, I bet it evens out pretty close to that for most people. Now, if you're like watering your yard like crazy in the summertime, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more. If you're all zero-scape, it's gonna be a little bit less because water is kind of pricey here in Colorado. That's probably the biggest difference, I would say. But I think that $300 a month is pretty good for utilities. One thing that I do want to add in there that I didn't think about earlier is internet. It's funny, we always talk about water, sewer, electric, gas, all this kind of stuff. But internet is a basic utility in today's world, right? So internet costs, I personally pay, I believe it's $110, $120 a month. I didn't look this up, but it's right around there, $110, $120 a month. And I actually have really fast internet. They just put a new fiber line through a rural area north of Colorado Springs. So it's through Force Broadband, and they offer gigabit speed. We actually backed ours down. I think it's 300 megabits. So it's really, really fast. It does everything I need to do for uploading videos, any kind of internet stuff, streaming, 3 different things around the house. So internet, $100 to $150 a month, depending on how fast of a speed you think you need. So you could probably get it a little bit less through Xfinity if you're in Colorado Springs and you want a little bit lower speed. But I'd say that, man, 100, 125, 150, somewhere right around in there is probably a pretty good budget marker for your internet here in Colorado Springs. So that's utilities. Like I said, a lot of variables there, but this is one that I think actually probably comes in pretty close to that for most people. So the next one we're gonna talk about is house payment. Man, this is one that it varies a lot. Now, this is another one I gotta say, remember, that's what we're doing. We're helping people find housing in Colorado Springs every day, and a lot of people coming in from out of state. So if you have questions about this one, definitely don't forget, reach out, call, text, email, hit us up. Want to make sure you guys have a real clear picture of what this looks like, because there's a ton of variability here. So for me, pull back the curtain a little bit, my housing payment is about $3,300 a month. Now, I will also say I've been in town for a long time. I think I've made some pretty good real estate investments. You know, we've done what a lot of folks historically have tried to do, and we've kind of, you know, bought an entry-level house, let it appreciate, paid it off a little bit, sold it, bought another house. So my wife and I both had a house here separately when we first moved to Colorado Springs. Weren't married at the time, obviously. And then we moved up to a little bit bigger house, and then we sold that house. And now we bought property and built the house that we're in right now. So our payment, and also this was, thank goodness, back when interest rates were, I think are probably about 4%, something like that. So our payment is $3,300 a month. Now you can kind of run the numbers and see like, okay, in today's world, if I only have like X amount for down payment, what's that gonna look like? $3,300, I mean, you can definitely find something in Colorado Springs for that, but it's not gonna get you a mansion, but you're not living in a box either. So to kind of put it in comparison or kind of give it some more context, like I said, we've definitely traded up over the years. So we've put a lot of equity from our previous homes into our current house, and that's why our payment's about $3,300 a month right now. So housing, a lot of variable there, a lot of variable. You got to reach out, you got to talk to a local professional to make sure that you understand the market, and talk with a lending professional in that area that understands like, okay, here's how much you're probably going to put down, here's what rates are looking like, here's something that's realistic for what you can budget for your housing costs. Because man, like I said, so much variable there, I don't even know what to say other than just make sure you reach out and talk to somebody boots on the ground to make sure you got a real clear idea of what that's going to be. Next one, property taxes. Man, this one has been a huge freaking debate, or just point of contention, I guess probably is a better word, over the last year in Colorado. So Colorado reassesses all the local assessors for each county. They reassess the property kind of on this rolling cycle, and I think it comes out to about like every 2 or 3 years. So the last assessment for Colorado property taxes were pre-COVID, pre-real estate craziness, as I like to call it. So now that we had all that big appreciation, you know, 30, 50%, whatever it was on some houses, now that we've had that appreciation, the county reassessed everything and those property values went up a lot. So people had property tax bills that went up a lot. I'm gonna tell you right now, for me, right now, and this one hurts to even say out loud because this is about double what it was before, $580, is that right? That is, I'm looking at it right here, $580 a month. That's what our current property tax bill is. So it's about $7,000 a year. And I'm being honest with you, that doubled over the last about 2-3 years ago. So that one was a big one for us. So property taxes, let me also say this, they haven't changed the mill levy rates at all. So those, you know, kind of those percentage rates that they figure up what your property tax bill is actually gonna be, those haven't changed in Colorado. It's not like they've jacked up the rates because they needed more money. It's just the property values went up so much and they reassessed the value of all those properties, applied the same mill levy rate to it, and that's why the overall tax bills went up so much. But man, tax bills, that's a tough one right now. Like I said, for me personally, for my house and the little bit of acreage we're on, $580 a month. That one kind of stings a little bit. But like I said, it's not because Colorado raised rates or the tax rate, just property values went up. So it kind of is what it is to some degree. And like I said, this is the kind of stuff like when like property tax bills are gonna go up, that's the stuff that unless you're in the kind of doing this every day, you really just don't know. So also take the time, like if this is good information, it's helping you kind of make a decision one way or the other, definitely subscribe to our channel, hit the little bell so you get all the notifications. We're putting out new videos all the time, and I know we did one specifically about taxes. So this is the kind of information you don't want to miss because they do make some big changes here and there, and you definitely want to make sure you get all that info. So definitely take the time, subscribe to the channel if you want to get that information, and make sure you don't miss anything. All right, the next one, insurance. Now, I've been told that insurance in Colorado Springs is a little bit expensive compared to other places because we get a lot of hail. So I would say probably like once a year, there's a fairly major hailstorm that comes through Colorado Springs. Seems like it usually hits the far south side of town or the north side. It seems like downtown doesn't really get it too bad, and up in the far north side of where I'm at, don't really get it too bad. But we do get some hailstorms, so that definitely affects insurance cost. So for homeowners insurance, for me personally, on my house, it's $400 a month. So a little less than, is that a little less than $5,000 a year, something like that? I don't know, it's $400 a month. That's what I looked up. $400 a month, and that's, I would say, average insurance. We don't have any crazy extra coverage, or deductibles, what I would probably call an average deductible. I didn't look that up specifically, but just kind of normal homeowners insurance for our property, $400 a month. So I've been told that that's a little bit kind of high compared to a lot of different parts of the country, but it's real similar to like coastal places, or actually even a little bit less than a lot of coastal areas You don't have to worry about flood insurance. I can maybe think of like 3 areas in town where you might have to carry flood insurance. Not very many of those whatsoever. So that's not a big thing. So that's nice. But $400 a month, that's what my personal homeowner's insurance is. And then the next one we got to talk about, obviously, vehicles. Now, like I mentioned, we've got a mid-size sedan, a mid-size SUV, a little bit newer full-size truck, and then I have an old 78 Jeep CJ5 that's actually in pieces right now. So we have like whatever, like the lowest little insurance you can possibly have on it to still get a license plate for it. But that's $558 a month. That seems like a chunk, actually. I think that, you know, and our coverage is modest. It's not like we have a $2 deductible. You know, I think it's like $1,000 deductible per vehicle. We don't have any other extra coverages like free windshields or anything like that. It's just kind of what I would call normal vehicle insurance for the vehicles that we have. It's $558 a month. Now, like I said, that's for really 3 vehicles. One, I think it's like $20 a month or something, $30 a month for that older Jeep. But for our 3 primary vehicles, that's what it is. It's about $558 a month. I think that's pretty comparable with most other cities across the country, if I'm being honest, but I'm not 100% sure. But that's what ours is. And I'll even tell you the years of the vehicles. My wife's car is a 2011, my car is a 2014, and our truck is the newest, it's a 2019. So that's the newest vehicle we have. So those 3 vehicles, like I said, $558 a month, that's what we're paying on the insurance side for car insurance. So that's one of our big monthly bills, obviously. Now, this next one, I'm gonna throw in here, even though I'm not paying it anymore, it's preschool. I know for a lot of people, most families nowadays, right? Both, you know, husband and wife, spouses, significant others, both people are working typically right now. So if you have little kiddos, that was a big cost for my wife and I that honestly, before we had a kid, really didn't think too much about, kind of thought about it a little bit, maybe didn't think about it enough, but it was a big cost. So you can do like the cheapest daycare and it's still gonna be pretty darn close to this price that I'm about to say. So preschool, our little guy went to, it's a Montessori school. There's a few of them around town. It's called Hope Montessori. It's, you know, we kind of did what everybody does. You look at the Google reviews, you wanna make sure your kid's taken care of. They're not gonna be splitting the atom when they're 3 years old or anything. We just wanted a place where he was kind of getting interaction with other kiddos and a little bit of learning going on. It's just kind of a good environment. And that was $1,200 a month. $1,200 a month for one kiddo. So if you have multiple kids, that can be a pretty darn big bill. And I guess there's probably one if you have a larger family, maybe one of the spouses does stay home just because it's less expensive that way. But for us personally, it was $1,200 a month for preschool. Now I know there's a lot of people watching this that's not even gonna be a consideration whatsoever, but if you have a little small child, or maybe you're thinking about starting a family and both of you are really engaged in your work and you both want to keep your careers going, you're gonna have to consider that. So there's a lot of options around town. I think we've even I know we've done a video on a lot of school stuff. I don't know if we've done preschools yet. Maybe we should do that. But preschools, there's a lot of options around town. And like I said, they go from kind of like your basic daycare up to kind of private in-home niche preschool. Like we looked at one of those and it was like a half day, 3 days a week, and it was like $1,700 a month or something. It was crazy. So there's definitely those options if you want those. But like I said, for myself, my family, it was $1,200 a month. Thank goodness my little guy's in first grade now at a charter school, which you don't have to pay for in Colorado. So we don't have any cost there, which is really, really nice. So that $1,200, we have now officially saved that money. All right, the last one that I want to talk about real quick, not real quick, because it's one I'm going to kind of elaborate on, is recreation and entertainment. So this is one where, man, there's a spectrum a mile wide about what your recreation and entertainment costs could be. For us, I figured it up average across the year. There's a lot of kind of variance here, but average across the year, I figured $1,500 a month. Now that takes into account, we're in Colorado, so you probably got to get some ski passes, right? You're probably going to want to go do some camping. You're probably going to want to go do some travel outside of Colorado to maybe get some warm weather whenever it's not, whenever it's stupid cold here. Now that number isn't like, hey, I'm going to take a $20,000 trip to Cancun and live there for a month. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking like maybe take a quick little getaway down to to Tucson or something for a long weekend, that kind of thing. But for your going out to the movies, doing your Colorado recreational stuff, you're on hiking, camping, backpacking, hunting, skiing, all that kind of stuff. For what we do as a family, I figured up it's about $1,500 a month. I will also say that my little guy has not gotten into a ton of extracurriculars right now. Take some guitar lessons, some swimming lessons, stuff like that. So nothing too crazy. I know because people tell me this all the time. Well, when he starts playing flag football and he starts doing X, Y, and Z, those costs are going to be a lot more. They probably will. But for us right now, $1,500 a month is what we're roughly at. And I'll also say, you know, truth be told, again, I'm very, very blessed. I love living out in the Black Forest area. For our recreation, a lot of it is just kind of hanging out on our property. So we don't spend, I bet we probably spend less money recreationally now than what we did previously. That's my guess. I don't know for sure. And like I said, that $1,500 a month number, there's a lot of just a lot of wiggle room there, because like I said, there's some months when it's probably more than that. We're buying ski passes, or we're taking some trip or something, buying a couple flights somewhere. And then there's months when it's almost zero, like we went out to a movie or something like that. So it's really, really minimal. But that's another cost that I think is just one that you got to make sure you're realistic about, right? Like if you're moving to Colorado, you probably kind of want to do some of this recreation stuff. So you want to make sure that it fits into your budget. I will also say that Colorado's pretty awesome in the fact that you can do a whole lot of recreating for free. You know, you can, like I said, you can, a lot of the hiking, biking, all that stuff, other than buying a bike, I guess. But once you have equipment to do stuff, it doesn't cost anything. Skiing is really kind of like the one that's the expensive thing to do, even if you live in Colorado, because of lift ticket prices. But there's a ton of stuff you can do for almost zero. So don't let that number scare you off either. If you're excited about Colorado, you love the idea of the outdoors and healthy atmosphere and environment, don't let that number scare you off, because you can do it for probably about $2 a month if you really, really wanted to. Maybe some gas to drive some places. So that number, like I said, ton of variance there. That's just what myself, my family, we personally spend. I feel like those are the main areas. Like I said, I just really wanted to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and just tell you, hey, here's where we're at, my family, here's what we roughly spend on a monthly basis. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have everybody else on the team. You guys know, Beresford Group, real estate sales team here in Colorado Springs. It's not just me, there's multiple people on the team. So we're gonna ask everybody to do this so you can kind of get an idea of different people, different stages in life, different hobbies, activities, what their cost of living, true numbers actually is. So stay tuned for that for sure. So like I said, if you have any questions whatsoever about the Colorado Springs area, especially the housing market, reach out, call, text, email, hit us up in the comments, whatever easiest for you. Just want to make sure you guys have all the information to make the best decision if you're thinking about moving to Colorado Springs.